Phoenix police officers are being investigated for misconduct after they allegedly used force during a traffic stop. A Tempe police report says 2 victims claimed that they were beaten for about 6 minutes by people they believed were cops. The report says the suspects used a stun gun, punched the driver, and threatened to shoot him. The 2 officers are on leave while the investigation continues. So let's take a legal deep dive into this case. Criminal defense attorney Hector Diaz joins me now in studio. All right, those 2 officers from Phoenix PD, this is now a criminal investigation. What does that mean, and what does that look like for them?
Well, you know, this thing is just, when you look at the allegations and you read about this, it just seems incredible, right? Phoenix police just coming on the heels of a Department of Justice civil investigation. They have to just be besides themselves in this. Criminal investigation, very likely that, you know, I think it was the Tempe Police Department that did the initial report.
Right.
They got some of this information, would have interviewed witnesses. Contemporaneously, you've got Phoenix police that's doing an administrative, you know, have put these officers on leave, and they're looking at everything, right? They're getting witness statements, and they felt that there was enough information or probable cause to potentially charge offenses here. And you're talking, you know, these aren't misdemeanors. These are kidnapping, aggravated assault.
Some serious charges.
Very serious charges that come with very serious consequences.
What kind of consequences?
I mean, you know, these are, given that we're talking about a stun gun, and we're talking about, you know, we don't know the extent of the injuries that, you know, these individuals could have suffered, but it could be prison, jail time. I mean, you know, put aside the, you know, loss of your job as a Phoenix police officer. And so I believe that there's probably been some preliminary information that's been submitted either to the county attorney or the Arizona Attorney General's office. They would review it and say, okay, hey, you know what? Let's build, there's something here. So they're likely looking at other investigations that these officers were involved in. They're looking at their phones. They're looking at their computers. There could have been search warrants executed for their information. Are there other officers involved? So we're only getting, this is going to be an ongoing story.
And likely a third-party police department looking at this case too, obviously.
Well, we know that Tempe was involved. I think that's where the report initially went out to. And so there could be other agencies involved, the Department of Public Safety. You could maybe even have some kind of federal review here, given, you know, what's been going on with Phoenix Police. But yeah, when you read the story and you read some of this information, it just is, it's incredible. Yeah,
there's so much still that we don't know. Now, this is interesting. The officers allegedly turned off their body cam video, and obviously that's supposedly, you know, against department policy there. So aside from those other serious charges that they could face, I mean, is there more liability because of that? Well,
potentially, I mean, potentially civil liability, but first and foremost, I mean, every officer knows, let's assume that this is like a high felony traffic stop, is that they're going to turn on their body cameras, and they're, you know, it's done for transparency, it's done to record the investigation. And, you know, we have to look, how senior are these officers? There really hasn't been any information, right? Let's assume they've been with the force for 10 years plus. They know that it's a simple tap of the button and it's on, right? And so that, you know, there are other things that I'm sure are going to come out that are incredibly suspicious and seem to indicate that this may have been, you know, a couple of rogue officers in terms of doing something they shouldn't have been doing. But, you know, we're going to hear more about this in the coming days.
There's still so much more to learn. All right, Hector, thank you so much.